This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not stopping a Mercer Island street brawl, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio World.
Do you have an idea for a community project in your neighborhood? You could be eligible for up to $50,000 in funding through the City of Seattle's Neighborhood Matching Fund. Grants are awarded to grassroots projects that build stronger communities, with an emphasis on projects led by impacting Black, Indigenous, and people of color BIPOC communities. To learn more about the Neighborhood Matching Fund or to see if your project meets the criteria, visit seattle.gov/neighborhoods/NMF.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Welcome to the Fitness Corner. I'm your host, Mark Bryant, and you're going to get a whole total body workout on my show, starting off with a warm-up, aerobics, strength training, cool down, and stretching every Friday from 11:30 to 12 right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to
How
say.
does generational wealth play into my family, my family's history, my children? What am I doing for my children to perhaps build them more wealth? I think it goes both ways, because for many immigrant families who are laboring constantly to live, your children are raised a certain way. Your children adopt certain values, which then will become their life and how they live it. When I see folks that perhaps have copious generational wealth, I see a whole different mindset, different ways of treating people. And I see it in my own children too. I feel like a lot of those values, in a lot of ways, begin to get lost when you don't have to work so hard to
This
live.
campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhoods Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
You know you can't get enough of Rainier Avenue Radio .world.
And this is LidLine Sports. Hit it. Edition of LidLine Sports here on this fine Monday night. MC is in for O. I'm your boy Pep, and I want to welcome everybody once again to LidLine Sports. How are you today, Mr. MC Michael Carter?
Trying to stay warm.
I'm telling you. And of course, we've got our producer extraordinaire, Mr. Daniel Bellis. What's up? All right. So we got a few things to talk about today in sports. We got some NFL and NBA that we want to discuss. And then we're going to get into some high school basketball just a little bit, since the playoffs here in Washington State kicking off this weekend for the state championships. Mm-hmm. And of course, we got some boxing news. And then, of course, right now, spring training. The Mariners in spring training, and of course, all the baseball and the grapefruit and cactus leagues. But I want to start off right now with Tiger Woods. Tiger Woo. I like him. Tiger who? Yeah. So Tiger Woods has developed a new league that's going to start in January of 2024. It's going to be a league that has six teams with 3 players each, right? And they're going to be playing on Monday nights and they're going to be mic'd up, and it's going to be a live crowd. Did you hear about this, MC?
Yeah, I did. I didn't kind of understand it though. I mean, I was reading about it, and I seen it on the news, sports news, but I kind of didn't understand it because it's called the TGL, but it was saying they're embracing technology to create this new unique environment. So I wasn't really understanding, because it also says something about how, like you were saying, 6 teams of 3 PGA Tour players competing in 2-hour contests. But it was also saying that it's not going to be on a traditional golf course or something.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that we'll find out more when the stuff comes out.
It says right here, a new team element is coming to the PGA Tour. It just won't take place on an actual golf course.
Okay.
So that's what threw me for a loop. But it's anything to help boost the sport,
Yeah, absolutely. So they will have a regular season, right? And then, of course, and then they're going to have a semifinal and, of course, a championship. And like I said, it's going to be 6 teams with 3 pro golfers each. So that's 18 golfers. So that's pretty interesting. Tiger's new venture. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think it'll be successful, or is this some kind of a gimmick, or what do you think? I mean,
he's got Rory with him, and he's a great golfer.
Rory McIlroy, McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a great golfer. So, put 2 great minds together, 2 great golfers, and then if depending on the other golfers that they bring in, they could put something out there,
Yeah, and when I first saw Monday nights, I was like, huh? But then I realized, oh wait, January, there's no Monday night football, so they don't have to worry about that. So maybe that's something to fill the void.
Time will tell. I mean, you look at football. You got the XFL that's come back, and
have you watched any of the XFL?
A few games. In the USFL, my daughter texted me and was like, "What's the USFL?"
That's right. Yeah, they start in April.
Right.
So
So I just told her it's just like the G League and the
basketball, NBA.
Yeah, it's just a they're professionals, but they're minor league professionals. So.
Yeah, and and the thing about it is that the XFL does have some former NFL players, like AJ McCarron from St. Louis, and Josh Gordon here, and Ben DiNucci for the Sea Dragons,
right?
Which they are 0-2 and quite disappointing right now, because they've got 6 turnovers in 2 games. That's unheard of.
Too many.
But anyway, we were talking about the golf.
Right.
And I don't want to get off that too quick. But now, is Tiger participating, or is he?
I don't think he's participating. I think who's to know? Who's to say? We'll see. Like you said, for right now, we got is just the layout and certain aspects of what's going to happen until they actually give us the final product and we see what it is. Then we'll know.
Right.
And if he does play, that's great. But if he doesn't and he just does commentary, that he knows a lot about golf. So
he's keeping his face on TV,
right?
So you don't forget him,
right?
He's hard to forget, but
anything to revive it though. And I think he's one of the main persons that has revived golf.
Definitely,
and took it to the level that it's at now.
Golf and its popularity to this point is because of Tiger Woods,
right,
no doubt,
right.
I mean, all respect to Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and that ilk,
and the young guys that are coming up,
right,
doing exceptionally well.
But if there was no Tiger Woods, the popularity and of golf would not even be near this as what it is today,
right? And I think every sport has that. Not to say we have the main sports like baseball, basketball, and football, but you got golf, you got tennis, you got there's certain sports like swimming that there's those certain athletes who have made it way more popular than
I know. And right when you think it can't get any better or a name can't get any greater, then here comes someone else. Like you said in tennis, back then it was, we thought Billie Jean King and Martina, Navratilova, and then then
Arthur
Steffi Graf.
Ashe.
Those names, you think it can't get any better, and then
Right.
here come the Williams sisters.
Yeah.
And then of course now that their career is waning, there'll be somebody else.
Right.
Which is good. This is what we want.
No,
right?
you got Coco.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Osaka. So you always have somebody that. But those were, like you were saying, the Williams sisters. They helped to elevate it to wow. Now it's so big.
And what's fascinating to me in all of sports, when you have sports with the same men league or women's league, to me, most of the men's leagues or men's sports are more popular. But to me, tennis, when I think of tennis, I go right to the women's, names. For me, I think they're more popular than the men. Do you agree with that or not?
I played tennis, so that's.
But I'm saying nowadays, maybe not back in the day, but I'm saying now because of Steffi Graf and Martina, and then of course Williams, women's tennis has really exploded.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. To me, when I think of tennis, I think of the women's game, and I think that's a good thing.
It is. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a good thing, and it just for me, I was kind of hard because there's a lot of guys that I still watching.
Right. But see, I can be honest. I can tell you right now, I know more women's names in tennis than I do men's.
Right. And that's probably because
by far
you don't follow it as hard.
I don't.
As
right.
I do. So but you're right. They are more popular in a sense. You have to. It's just hard to say. I mean, it's kind of like I'm sure there's NBA or WNBA people that feel the same way about the NBA, but not as much. But you're right. I followed Serena and Venus and Coco and is it Osaka?
Naomi.
I followed them harder than I did some of the guys. Just because their games were a little bit more exciting, and but there are some great guys out there too that are.
I could be wrong, but it seems to me because when you hear about the women's game, you hear a lot about the younger women, like the 16-year-old, 17-year-old women.
You're right.
And for the men, you don't hear about 15, 16-year-old men or boys, whatever, coming up as much as you do with the women. So I think that's why I probably feel more gravitated toward the women's game because of how great they are at such a young age.
Right. And they do have some great young guys.
I'm sure they do.
They just don't get the PR.
Do they take more time to develop? Because the men's game, I guess it's much stronger, right?
Yes, very much.
So
yes.
I guess for a young man, 16, 15, it would probably be harder to compete against a 23, 24, 25-year-old man, right, in competition that way. So that's why.
That's a big
but it's amazing the fact that these young women, 15, 16, 17, can compete with, like I said,
the
23,
oldest.
24. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is very amazing.
Yeah, so good. So spring training, baseball is coming up, and spring training just got underway this past week. And of course, the big news in spring training in baseball is the rule changes that have come about. Some say that they've made too many changes at one time. Maybe they should have gradually made some of these changes. For instance, of course, I'm sure everybody's heard about the pitching clock, right? There's a pitch clock,
right?
So you have 15 seconds to between pitches, and of course the batter has
15 seconds if there's no runners on base,
right? 20
seconds if there's base runners,
correct. And then of course the batters are also involved. They have 8 seconds to make contact eye to eye with the pitcher
or be in the
batter's box, right? And of course between batters there's another 20 seconds that you have to be in there between batters. So like if you get one batter out within 20 seconds, the next batter's got to be in there and ready to go.
Right. I love that. I love the clock and the count. It's going to speed the game up, and it's going to there's only one drawback. I say if it's the ninth inning and say the score is 1-0 or 2-1, then they should take the pitch clock out for just that inning and just let them play. That way you take the refs out just to do their thing, as that's called strikes and outs, and their replay reviews.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty good.
But
it makes sense too, because you know what? We've already had a game here in spring training where the game ended on a batter being called out for the third strike because he did not make eye contact within the 8 seconds or whatever it was. So the game was over. It ended a 6-6 tie, which in spring training ties they don't do extra innings, which makes sense.
Right.
So, but you don't want that to be a game winner or ender in a regular season game.
Right.
Especially in a playoff game too, right?
Exactly. That's my point.
2 outs, bottom of the ninth, and you lose like that. Come on. That would be kind of. So I do kind of like your idea. And people were saying that maybe they should have implemented the other rules gradually. Like, okay, so you got the pitching count this year, right? And then next year you do both the pitcher and the batter, but now they're doing everything at once,
right?
So it's got everybody kind of like in a they don't know what to do.
That happens though in sports. It's not like the new tackling rule. It took them a while for everybody to get used to how to get tackle now without getting flagged, and they still work out the kinks. But I think in baseball, I don't think it's too much. I think they'll soften up. The refs are gonna play hard
right
in the spring training, and I think once the regular season starts, they will soften up a little bit on it, just slightly to make them not as involved in the game. And take the game away from the players.
And also pitchers can't throw to, like if you got a runner on first, you can't throw to first base more than 2 times in a row.
Right.
So
I love that.
Yeah. So, they keeping it from, instead of those 3-hour and 45-minute games.
Right.
Actually the last 3, not counting tonight, Mariner playoffs. Spring training games, they've been like under 2.5 hours each one of them, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a little bit of flack though from like the owners and the concession stands and stuff like that, because they'll be saying, well, we didn't sell enough food or didn't sell enough beer or the game is so much quicker now, we're not making the money that we used to. So there's going to be those little kinks and those little criers,
Yeah, and plus it takes away from what you hear on the broadcast.
Right.
A lot of times you're probably going to hear a lot less interesting stories that you might hear in between innings or during actually an inning where there's some lull in the action. You got a man on first and third, and the pitcher's doing his thing and the batter's adjusting everything on his body, and they got the broadcasters have time to tell you about what happened in 1957 with Lou Burdett and the Milwaukee Brewers or whatever,
right?
Stuff like that. So so it's going to probably the broadcasters are going to have to adjust,
right? Everybody is.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see on TV as well how it's going to look,
right?
Especially on the national TV games.
It's going to take away from the 7th inning stretch. They're going to have to cut some of the words out of the song.
I don't think that's going to be any worry.
Okay, no.
I don't think that's going to be any worry. But I did notice, like, listening to Mariners broadcast, at the top of the 3rd inning, they always have a guest.
Right.
And those innings are so fast now. It's like you might ask a guest 1 or 2 questions. All right, that's the end of the inning. See you later.
When were you born? Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So
what kind of bat did you use? Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Next play.
So what's also interesting, of course, is San Diego Padres Manny Machado had stated before spring training that he was going to opt out of his contract. He signed a contract in 2019 for 10 years and $300 million. And so now today, as of today, they signed him to an extension. So now he's going to be there for another 11 years and $350 million. Woo!
He's banked in.
And it's amazing because San Diego is, no bigger than Seattle as far as market is concerned.
Right.
But they're spending money like, wow, because they got Machado now, right?
Right.
You got Juan Soto,
Right.
and you got Fernando Tatis Jr.
So now that you said that, I just read something today, or maybe I heard somebody talking about it, which made it very interesting, is that will that cause the MLB at the next go round to go have a cap space?
That's never going to happen.
I know. But
yeah.
They were saying
they're going to try it. Absolutely.
With so many players making 300 and 200,
they're going to try, but baseball has the best union,
right,
in all of sports.
Right. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes, they've got the best union negotiations and whatnot, and they've already said there is absolutely no way we're going to go for a salary cap without any stoppage is concerned.
Right.
So, so that's going to be interesting. And then, of course, you got people here in Seattle kind of disappointed in the offseason because they didn't make a big splash on any free agents.
Do you blame them?
I don't, but I think that the Mariners, what they're trying to do is they're trying to do it gradually. Okay, here's what I'm just bear with me on this one. Okay, so they made the playoffs this past season, correct? Right. And so people, and they won 90 games 2 years in a row.
Right.
So they finally made the playoffs. So this year, of course, they can't take a step back. They can't not make the playoffs. There's pressure on them to make the playoffs. So with the guys that they got right now, on paper, they should still make the playoffs. However, I think the big push for next season is the free agent, the big free agent. And you know who that is.
Yeah, I still don't like it. They got money. If there's no cap, like we just talked about, and they got the money, go get that good guy. And right now, when your team I just had this debate with and they were agreeing. We were agreeing with each other. It wasn't like a me against them. But now's the time when you have okay. Let's just go back a little bit in history for the Mariners, just slightly, okay?
Okay.
So when they had Ken Griffey and
Edgar,
and
Jay
the
Buhner,
pitcher,
Randy Johnson,
right? They did really good. And what happened after the year after that? They let Randy Johnson go, and they kept Ken around for a little bit, then they let him go. So they've always, throughout the years, they've always got a couple good players, star players, or so we thought they were star players, and they just didn't build a team around them. They just said, we could do it with some role players and a couple stars, right?
Well, what did you not remember what you and I talked about years ago? We said that the Mariners, they're not really caring whether or not they get to the World Series.
Right.
They just want people to think they
want
to get there.
As long as they keep them buying
as long
tickets,
yes,
and
exactly,
following them and keep that, that dangling the carrot in front of their face.
Right.
They'll
but the problem is that lasted 20 years, and that can't happen again.
No, not with the taste. You just said it. That's why I said what I said.
Yes.
So you should be getting a key player to but because you got Julio, right?
Correct.
And you got a couple other players that are just right below Julio, correct?
Right.
So now if you go get that star player that can be in there with them, spend that money now, you can have.
But the guy they want is not available. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The guy they want,
who's the guy?
Is Ohtani. That's who they want. And they're gonna go all. I feel that they're gonna go all out. See, they're gonna be good.
Mean they're gonna get
Here's the thing about it. Why I say the pressure's on them for this year, because you have to look attractive,
right?
And if the Mariners take a step back,
right,
and look like trash, well, it's going to be all for naught because Ohtani's not going to want to come here. He wants to win,
right?
But if the Mariners again get into the playoffs, make a nice run in the playoffs, they will look attractive to him. And I think that's the guy they want.
I'm hoping they make the playoffs again.
Because look, if you get a guy like Ohtani, he's two players in one. I mean, he's an outstanding pitcher, right? He's a Cy Young caliber pitcher, and he's an MVP on the field. And of course, if he comes up here, then he'll strictly probably DH.
Right.
He'll be your DH. That's your DH problem. So he's two guys in one, and of course, he's going to cost you excess of $400 million. No question about it.
Right. I don't see them going after.
But he's a guy that if you're going to think about doing that, if you're going to do that, he is the only guy I can see right now today that I would do that for.
I just don't see him wanting to come to Seattle because I don't think he thinks there's a big enough market.
Well, maybe. Perhaps,
but
like I said, if they make themselves attractive enough by winning today, right now, and doing well, and he could be the guy that can get you over the hump, because like I said, he's been in LA now for several years, and they ain't won squat, and they got Mike Trout, they got some players, but they're not winning.
Right. Yeah,
and he's tired of that.
Right.
So.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see how it all plays out.
But that's just my feeling.
I know
because
and I'm giving you
because Seattle didn't do nothing this season. That's what lets me believe that he's the big prize. He's the big fish that they want. They didn't go after Trevor Story last season, right?
Right.
And then he ended up with Boston and struggled mightily, except when he played the Mariners when he was always hot.
Right.
Couldn't figure that one out, but whatever.
I just was listening to an ex major league player, and I think he did play for the Mariners. I can't remember his name, but he was just talking, and he was saying how he just doesn't see it. They just haven't done anything to better themselves, and he said they might not make the playoffs with the team that they have. He said that if they don't go out and get another bona fide pitcher, we might get the same old where they get, like the year before last,
right,
where they got close to it, but they were a couple games out because they lost some games earlier in the season. And I could see that happening with the pitching that they have. They don't have that, that bona fide closer. They got Robbie Ray, but who else is
Castillo?
Yeah, Castillo, but you need more than two pitchers.
Well, absolutely.
And you need that. My main point is you need.
I'm surprised Marco's still here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you need that closer. You know that. You know baseball. You need that bona fide closer that can give your pitchers a break. That can come in a lot of the seasons. I mean, in a lot of the games in the seasons, a lot of the games, and give your pitchers a break and close that game out. And if you don't have that, you got to go through your whole pitching staff game after game after game, like they did last year. They made the playoffs.
Do you think they improved their lineup for this year? Significant. I mean, enough. I don't. There's no question they improved it.
I don't think they did it. I don't think they did it enough. I think they just did it enough to make the games stay above average. And like I said, if they don't get somebody, I think they might go backwards and miss the playoffs by 1 or 2 games, because you know what those great teams do, right? At the end of the season, what do? They elevate. They start playing better. Their pitchers get better. Their closers close out games, and the batters bat. And I hope they do, because it's our hometown fan. But they got to make some more pickups, man. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. It was a disappointment as far as not getting the big splash free agent for this particular season after what happened last season in the postseason. That was so encouraging because they they got swept by the Astros 3-0, but in those games, all were competitive, right, and all could have been won.
True.
By the Mariners.
True. I agree.
I mean, it could have been a 3-0 sweep the other way around.
But let me ask you, if they would have had a closer or another bona fide,
Absolutely.
starting pitcher,
Right.
they would have beat the Astros.
Yeah.
Are you disagreeing that?
But the thing about it, here's the thing. I mean, they went 18 innings in the last game, right? At Houston.
Right.
Right? 18.
That's a burnout.
I mean, no, that was here actually.
But that's a burnout game.
Yeah.
18 innings, yeah.
18 innings. So you got to say that the pitching was outstanding for that particular game.
Yeah, they battled.
But the thing is, they couldn't hit.
Right.
As usual. Right? When it counted, when they needed to.
Right.
Well, anyway, so that's enough of that. And look, when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit of high school basketball here in Washington State for the state championships. And then, of course, we're going to get into the NBA and NFL. So
let me say this real
Stay
quick.
with us.
Go ahead.
Don't go away. We'll be right back, and Michael Carter will make that statement.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
For me, generational wealth is passed down knowledge from relatives or any family members, or even like any ancestral people that have come before you, that is, used to help you progress in the times that you're living in. So I think it is very updated. It's very current. It is existing in real time. So any type of knowledge or resources from people who are here living now, being able to provide that information and pass it down from generation to generation, and how you maintain the wealth. That's what it means to me.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio World. Create your generational wealth for you and the future of your families.
Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
Celebrate Black History Month at the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum, formerly Columbia City Theater, 4916 Rainier Avenue South. Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum features exhibits and installations. It's a guided tour. Installations include the Seattle Black Panther Party, the Black Heritage Society of Washington, the Rainier Cinema Black Movie, Jimi Hendrix Family Installation, the Seattle Griot Project, BlackPass.org, the Hartsfield Family Slave, the Seattle Black Firefighters, an exhibit of the Seattle Black Elected Officials, Tacoma's Buffalo Soldiers Museum, Keith Flywright Williams Photography Collection, the Royal Esquires, a Negro League baseball display featuring the Seattle Steelheads. Of course, there will be your community keepsake and memorabilia. Tuesdays through Sundays from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be no other location where you can celebrate the achievements and the achievers of the Pacific Northwest and Seattle while recognizing the Black excellence that shines today. For more information, visit RainierAvenueRadio.world or call 206-290-9685.
Would you like to see when your favorite Rainier Avenue Radio show comes on? Check out our show schedule, updated weekly at RainierAvenueRadio.world.
Welcome back to LidLine Sports. You got your boy Pep with you. And of course, we got MC Michael Carter's with us. O is out for today, but he'll be back next week. We talked some Tiger Woods. We talked a little bit of spring training, right?
Yes,
what else did we talk about?
I just wanted to say to all the listeners out there, I'll be the first one to go caw caw if the Mariners make the playoffs.
Oh, eating that crow.
I'll be the first.
And I'll be right behind you because I want to eat it too. So anyway, we talked about that. And I want to get into Jake Paul for a hot second because he lost his first fight since becoming a fighter, I guess. He was a YouTube, I guess, fighter. I don't know how that stuff works, to be honest.
He was a YouTuber and social media guy, and then
What was he doing? Beating up guys off the street? I mean, I don't know what the YouTube fighter means.
Well, he just was, just a YouTuber. He was just on it, and then he was talking trash, and then he just decided he didn't need he was going to show people he could make money without having an agent, doing all on his own.
Okay.
So he started promoting himself and getting out there and having matches with, people like, did Nate Robinson fight him?
Yes.
And I mean, just people, I'm just saying though.
Right.
He just was using people, people that were people knew, just to build up his notoriety. And this is the first actual fight where he fought a true boxer,
professional,
a young professional true
boxer.
I
heard, I didn't watch it.
I did. I watched a little bit of it.
Okay, so I heard that it was a split decision.
It was a split decision, but he got beat. He got outboxed, and then the reason why is Fury was actually boxing him continuously.
Okay.
Even though he did get hit.
But why wasn't it? Okay, so
he did get hit.
I don't mean to cut you off, but how come it's not a unanimous or whatever?
Because they both were clinching a lot here and there.
A lot of hugging.
Yeah, a lot of hugging, and but Jake was doing more hugging, and Fury was actually boxing. He was doing, getting some way more shots in.
But Fury is talking so much stuff, as a boxer, and of course that's what they do,
right?
And him being a professional, he was saying, oh, he's going to end Jake Paul's career and things like that. So when I heard it was a split decision, I was like, well, dang, maybe Jake Paul's better than I thought he was.
No, he's not. He survived, and
okay.
But you'll fight him again because he put that in the contract.
Okay.
I just wonder if he's going to honor when he was running his mouth at the last meeting. He said that Jake Paul said, if I lose, I'll give you
double.
Right. If you lose, you don't get anything.
Right.
So and his dad right away said, I'll take it. And it took Fury a minute to say, and he got up and shook his hand.
Yeah.
So let's see if he honors that. Did you take your money, or were you just running your mouth? And I think, like I was saying to a lot of people before, once he meets a bona fide boxer, he's not going to beat him, because he does. In due time, he might, because you gotta work your way.
How old is he?
Who, Jake?
Yes.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, with boxing, it's not something you could, if you're not Mike Tyson or Sugar Ray or, of that caliber of those guys, you can't just jump into the sport.
Yeah. And, because those guys been boxing since they were teenagers.
Right.
Because you've seen the pictures of Ali when he was 12.
Right.
So to me, yeah.
That's my point, though. They've been boxing and had the trainers around them. And he, you just jumped into it, and it takes more than that,
Yeah. I haven't been following boxing since I don't know how long. I haven't actually watched the pay-per-view fight since me and Montel Williams. I used to go to his house and watch pay-per-view stuff, because he kind of resembled, if you look at Montel, he kind of resembles Marvin Hagler.
Right.
So, when we were living in Virginia, they had a Marvin Hagler lookalike contest then, and he came in second. I was like, wow, he came in second. I'd like to see the other guy that came in first.
Right.
But so I used to go to his house, watch fights and stuff, and then I never paid for, I always go somewhere else to watch it or whatever. So, and nowadays I don't even bother.
They got some good boxers out there, though. There's going to be another good fight that's about to happen.
Cool.
Davis and Garcia. It's going to be a great fight. But they do have some good boxers out there.
Right.
And
well, I know the Canelos and the GGG.
Right.
That kind of stuff. I still know them, but
I haven't really watched a lot of it either. But
right.
I follow it, and every now and then I will watch some.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, the NBA is in full throat. After the All-Star break, O and I talked about how that was a debacle. They need to make changes to that in the worst way. And of course, in the aftermath, you see all the memes, you see all the criticisms. You hear all the talk on the radio about what they need to do. And the best one that I saw is one I think that you posted.
What was that?
I think, didn't you post the one about the international players playing?
No,
against...
somebody posted that, but I thought that was awesome.
To me, that was the best one that I've seen so far.
Me too.
That you have all international players like Luka, Jokic, and guys of that nature play against NBA guys as far as American born or American whatever NBA guys.
I did post it, but I copied somebody else's post.
And listen, let's say North American, because I don't want to count out Canada, because like Andrew Wiggins and stuff like that. Canadians do have some ballers here in the NBA. So if they make the All-Star team, I don't want them to feel that they're considered American when they're not. They're Canadian.
Right.
So I don't want to disrespect that. So you figure international players against North American players would be a pretty good All-Star game, because for one, you're going to have some defense, you would think.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because, there's pride at stake, because you got USA on the uniform,
right.
You got whatever is going to be on the other side. They're going to want to beat us.
Right.
Right. So I say us because, I'm an American. So this is where I was born and raised. So, yeah. So I'm going
to be like a mini Olympics, where you have the USA playing.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to get interest back in the All-Star game, or make it relevant, not only interest but relevancy is what's key for the All-Star game, because it's long gone.
Right.
Because
you'll have a lot of NBA players that will play for the non-USA team because they're not U.S. citizens,
right?
Or they might be dual citizens, but they'll play for their country, which is
international.
Absolutely. Correct.
Yeah.
So it could make it very competitive.
I would love to see that.
Right.
And to be honest, man, the North American team would have a tough time.
Oh man.
I mean, listen, it ain't no guarantee.
No.
And you don't want to be the one to lose.
No.
So, that would make it pretty interesting, I think.
Yes, I agree.
So I don't know. I hope NBA,
they have to change it.
Right.
They have to.
I mean, we've said for years NFL need to get rid of the Pro Bowl. And so, they did make a change to get it to flag, whatever.
Right.
So, yeah. And then, of course, baseball, they probably have the best All-Star game, or no, actually, no, I'll take that back. The NHL probably has the best All-Star game.
I was about to say the same
thing. NHL, they got it right.
Yep.
Their All-Star games are awesome.
Exactly.
But Major League Baseball is probably second as far as all the All-Star.
I watched theirs. From their home run game.
Oh, the home run derby is a hit.
From the home run derby to the game
it's a hit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
and there's incentive. There used to be incentive that the winner of the All-Star game won the home field for the World Series. Do they still do that?
I don't know. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know. But the NBA, they need to do something maybe.
Drastic.
Yeah, exactly. Because the All-Star festivities, it's just terrible. And it's like, where is it next year? I think next year it's in Indianapolis, if I'm not mistaken. It's like, come on, man. What are you gonna do in Indianapolis?
The next 2 years, it's in Indianapolis, and then it goes from Indianapolis to I forget the other place. But then the year after that, LA is making a bid for it. So for 2 more years, they got to go to places that,
I mean, I guess I get it that you got all these teams in the NBA and they deserve to host an All-Star like Utah just did. And then the year before that, last year, was Cleveland. These are, I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, but these are nondescript cities.
Yeah,
right?
But why? Do you know why?
Cleveland, Salt Lake City, Indianapolis. I mean,
you know why they got it though. It's a big thing going on about it, and it's known. It's well known. The cities who have put the bids in and have paid public money towards their arena have gotten the All-Star games. That's why they've been playing there. All the other places that put bids in and their arenas didn't put no public money towards the arenas. They somehow didn't get the game played there. So and I didn't realize that until it was brought to my attention. It's so they're paying public money. And the owners they're digging that. The league is digging that. So why not give them the All-Star game?
Okay, so let's say Vegas and Seattle get a team within the next 2 years, right? 3 years. How long before each one gets an All-Star game? Do you think?
Seattle probably will, because Seattle's good at their.
But you think Vegas will get one first, and
Yes.
then and then Seattle?
Yeah.
So it'd probably be back to back, right? It makes sense.
Probably.
Like Vegas get one in 29, Seattle get one in 30.
Right.
Something
Right.
like that.
Right.
Well, I don't know how far advanced the All-Star games are, because so
Yeah.
it depends on that.
Let's just get a team first, right?
Yeah, that's another story. we won't get into all that.
Right.
That's for another day.
Right.
So then, like I said earlier, the NBA is in a lather of full throat right now. They are really cranking it up. We got LeBron James going to be out again indefinitely. I guess he had another setback to his foot yesterday.
His ankle. That's right.
Ankle, right. And yesterday's comeback win against Dallas, down 27, 48-21 in the second quarter.
Right.
And LA came back to win 111-108 over the Mavs. So a lot of Laker fans are all hyped up. But, LeBron had said last week that these next 23 games were going to be one of the most important, if not the most important, of his career. But now he is out. What do you think the Lakers' chances now of getting into the play-in and getting into playoffs and doing some damage there?
Oh, they'll probably make the play-in, but it might be slim. But they need to have LeBron and AD healthy in order to go deep. If they're not healthy, either one of them, if they make the play-in, they'll probably win their first round, and then that'll be it. But without both of those guys playing together, I don't see it. They're playing good, but you got to have them both. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Just like Phoenix Suns, they're a great team. But if Paul doesn't come back and Booker doesn't come back, healthy, and it's just Ayton and KD, and it's not going to work. I mean, they won't go deep.
True that. Yeah, when that trade happened with Phoenix and Brooklyn, I said, look, you got KD, you got Booker, you got Chris Paul. What do they all have in common? Well, yeah, but I'm specifically speaking of those three, because they're always hurt at some point or other.
Okay,
so when are they actually going to play together?
I see your point.
Yeah. So people getting all hyped up and excited, and it's like, for what? When are they going to play together?
And let me make this point. Even if they are healthy and Ayton doesn't go out there and play a monster defensive game and rebounds and just takes charge of down low because he's a big, right? They still won't go deep because they need that. You got to have that big guy force that's intimidating, that's blocking shots. Look what Embiid did the other day against Memphis. It was incredible. He wasn't scoring. Usually he's scoring, right? He wasn't scoring. He was not, but he was blocking shots and getting rebounds, and they beat Memphis.
Right, and AD did that last week too. That's impressed me about the weekend before, because he was not doing it on offense, but on defense, man, he brought it.
Right,
and he beat
and he carried it.
Yeah, he carried them to the win
feeds
against the
off of that.
Warriors.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So yeah, and so Phoenix, like you made a good point about Ayton. And it seems like Ayton's got some guys that intimidates him, like Giannis.
Right.
And, AD.
Right.
He disappears.
And he shouldn't. He's a baller. He's a good ball player.
Right. I mean, he's of high caliber himself.
Right.
So he might not be as good as AD or Giannis, but that don't mean he can't ball.
Right.
Right. So you don't let that stop you.
No.
You just do what you do.
Just go out there and do what you do. And
because if you do what you do, and of course KD's going to do what KD does,
feed off
and
of him.
Devin Booker, you're still going to be dope.
Right.
Right. And of course, we all know that Chris Paul come March going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Going to get nicked up.
Ear.
And that's the problem. See, when they made that trade, they lost a lot of their depth.
Right. No bench depth. That's exactly right.
So that's going to be.
That's kind of like Denver, though, isn't it? Denver is good, but they don't have no depth.
Well, Denver's another team that has consistency of players that can stay on the court, right?
Right.
I mean, Aaron Gordon's been out for a while. He just got back.
Right.
Right. We all know Michael Porter is in and out.
Right.
And when he's in, he was on the other night, got 29. Great.
Right.
You know, Jokic is steady,
Right.
MVP caliber, contender, whatever. He might even get his third straight MVP. But then, of course, you got Jamal Murray, who's, you know, plays 2 games and he's out for the next 6.
Right.
You know, and then you got other guys that come in off the trade, or they're just inconsistent.
Right.
I mean, look, Saturday night they got blown out at Memphis,
Exactly.
and then come home and they blow out somebody else.
Right.
You know, so okay.
Let me ask you a question though.
Mm-hmm.
So this is about Atlanta and Trey. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now he done got 2 coaches pretty much fired, correct?
Yes.
So now is the pressure on Snyder to win?
No.
Or is the pressure on Trey to, hey, do what you do?
There's no pressure on Snyder. He's got a 5-year deal.
Right.
And he's already walking into a team.
Not about losing his job, just about them performing and winning. I mean, just winning.
I don't think so. I don't think he has that pressure because he's done it before. I mean, he came into Utah and he made Utah. He's been in the playoffs with Utah, right?
Mm-hmm. Is there more pressure on Trey? Let me correct my.
Okay.
Is there more pressure on Trey or more pressure on Snyder?
Trey.
Okay.
We're on the same page. Snyder, like I said, Snyder ain't got no pressure.
Right.
He just signed. He just got there, and he's already signed to a 5-year deal.
Right.
And so he's already walking into what's there.
Right.
Right. So if they play like they've been playing all year long, well, that's not his team.
No, because I'm just saying because Trey whine, right?
Right.
But
it's definitely on Trey. But the
year-
pressure's on the front office,
right?
Because they're the ones that drafted Trey ahead of Luka Doncic,
right?
So the pressure's on them,
right?
You know, right now.
What do you think about the Knicks? Tell me your take on the Knicks right now.
I think Jalen Brunson, they finally got it right. They finally got the point guard that they need to get them
rolling.
Yes.
I
They've
agree.
won 6, 7, 8 in a row now.
Yes.
Julius Randle.
Brunson's got Julius Randle and the boys.
Oh,
balling.
listen, he's got Julius Randle looking superb. He had 46 the other night,
Right.
and then followed it up with 28.
Right.
Right. That's what you do.
Right.
You know, stay consistent, you know, and Brunson's got him winning.
Mm-hmm.
And look, they got a guy like Derrick Rose who's not complaining.
Right.
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 And he could step in and do stuff.
Do some damage.
They got guys, you know, quickly. And you know, so they got front court guys.
Right.
So they're doing pretty well. I expect them to make a nice little run in the playoffs. They'll probably win their first round. I
Right.
think they should.
Mhm.
Second round, they'll probably get knocked out. But listen, the Knicks are much better off today than they've been in a long time.
And if they would have got Donovan Mitchell,
yeah,
they would be a whole light
But
out.
right now,
But you gotta
Jalen
go with
Brunson
They're
was the
doing it.
perfect guy to get.
I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
for sure.
Damian Lillard with 71 points. What you think about that?
13 threes. He was 13 of 22 from 3. That's over 50%, right?
Right.
And of course, the league average is, I mean, if you're a great 3-point shooter, you're shooting at 40.
Right.
So it was phenomenal. You know, and the guy continues, man. He could be complaining.
Right.
He could say, man, I want to go somewhere. He
Yep.
says, no.
I
I'm
just
staying
gonna
in
play,
Portland.
and I'm gonna play.
I got a contract. I'm gonna honor it. I'm loyal. I love the city.
Right.
You know, this is his second home or first home now. You know, we know he's from Oakland. We know this.
Right.
But he's adopted Portland just like Gary Payton has adopted Seattle.
Right.
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 Gary Payton's also from Oakland.
Right.
But he seems to be up here a lot.
Yeah.
He seems to be talking about Seattle a lot.
Exactly.
So, you know, he loves it up here.
Right.
You know, this is his home. Sean Kemp too.
Right.
So, you know,
He would have hit 80, but he had 40 at half. And when he came out, Houston started double and triple teaming him.
Mhm.
So he started diming into his other players and they started hitting. And then they had to slack off of that because it was like, oh, we might lose this game. And then he ramped it back up and hit him for 71. So
Yeah.
it's like, man, but they didn't want him to hit 80 because if he'd hit 80, it would have been a record that Houston didn't want to have on their backs.
yeah, and it's funny that Donovan Mitchell's mom texted Donovan and said, "Look, man, you see Dame got 71, same as you, because Donovan Mitchell got 71 earlier this year.
I seen that.
He said, now you got to go get 72.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
That's nice.
Calm down, Ma.
Yeah.
71 is good.
I like that though. Mom's is pushing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the West is okay. The contenders in the West, follow, correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
We got Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I guess we got Phoenix, right? All look, all things being equal, everybody healthy. Yeah, you got to put them in there.
Right. Paper wise, they are.
Yeah. Oh, we got to give some love to the Sacramento Kings.
Man,
Mike Brown is coach of the year, is he not?
Okay, but let me tell you this. I was going to mention that you brought it up, so I can tell you now that every year, what two teams that we say it's a great season because they did make the playoffs?
Sacramento and the fake Sonics.
But now I have to tell you, it's going to be a semi-great because the fakes ain't going to make it. But I think the Kings,
well, they might because they're right there too, bro.
No, I'm just hoping. But the Kings are going to make it. They're balling. So
yeah, and Mike Brown has done
an exceptional job.
Phenomenal, man.
Right.
I mean, look, when you look at the Kings on paper and then, from what they did last season until, he walks in this year and, Darren Fox has been outstanding. And then, of course, Sabonis,
right,
who they got from Indiana last year in a trade.
They're balling.
So right now they're like 10 games over.
Mm-hmm.
They had probably one of the best games of the year Friday at LA when they played the Clippers to a 176-175 win in OT.
That's a team that I just don't get. How come they don't have consistency, the Clippers?
Yeah, they lost again in overtime.
I know. I just don't get it. They got ballers. I just don't know I don't get it, man.
Yeah. And to his credit, Kawhi's been crazy. He got 44 the other night, got 33 today. Or yesterday, whatever day it was.
Don't mean crap if they don't win, though.
It doesn't. And, and that's what he went there for, right?
Right.
Him and Paul George.
Right.
They're supposed to be, these dynamic duo. And then, of course, with the role players that they have, they should have been doing much better.
Right.
Than what they're doing. I mean, they're barely they're 3 or 4 games over 500 for a team like that. Come on, they should be better than that.
Right.
So in the West, like I said, we got Denver, Phoenix.
Denver's there, but I don't think a lot of teams fear Denver. I think they know they're good, but they don't have fear for them when they play them.
No, they're not at that level yet.
Right, exactly.
Right. So the Warriors going to make the playoffs or not?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they might make the play-in.
Okay. So if you look back east, Boston is like they're head and shoulders above everybody.
Lights out.
Yeah, I mean Milwaukee's won 14 in a row. But if you're going to put me in a series with Boston, I'm going to go with Boston.
Right.
And then, of course, you got Philly making a little noise. You got Embiid. And then, of course, James Harden.
Yep.
But they lost Thibault in the trade because, they lost a lot of defense with that trade.
Right.
And, of course, Maxey is in and out of the lineup, it seems, because he's always hurt or something.
Right.
So they got some consistency issues there. And they can't seem to beat Boston anywhere. They're 0-3 against Boston.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And I think Cleveland's like we were talking about, kind of like the Knicks, how they're balling and they got the right.
They're kind of a sleeper,
right?
And I want to say Miami's kind of a sleeper, but Jimmy Butler's starting to starting to chirp.
Right.
He's starting to complain. So that gets me thinking that they're not going to do nothing.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
And so like
in Atlanta, they're 8, but I just don't see it.
They're talented, but they seem to be discombobulated.
Well, I said it earlier. You got guys like Trey, who he's an exceptional ball player, but he's a head game. He wants to talk and run his mouth and worry about other things and just play basketball.
Right.
Just play basketball, and let your basketball playing talk for you. Win some games. Go deep in the playoffs. Other than that, and chill out.
Yeah, well, they'll be lucky if they
remember
make
the old word chillax.
Yeah, I hate that word. Because people say that it's like they're trying too hard,
right,
to be cool.
Okay, I was trying to be cool, man.
Yeah, Yeah, they're trying too hard to be cool when you
shave.
yeah.
I'm sorry. No.
Oh no, not at all. So yeah, so that's probably pretty much it about the NBA. So in the finals, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but right now Boston looks to be the favorite. Yeah, and it looks like Jason Tatum, to me, is probably the front. Well, I guess Jokic, but then Tatum is probably one of the front runners for MVP.
Right.
But we're out of time, so it was a good show. I appreciate Michael for filling in.
Thank you for having me.
O. And on behalf of Mr. Michael Carter and our producer Daniel Bellis, thank you. We'll talk to you again next week on LidLine Sports. Sports as we see it from just below our lid. Holla. Holla.